Yeah, we just on some. Yeah, nah, Chuck, man, good to have you around, though, bro. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This gonna be. I believe this to be a great conversation for the
And
people,
people
though,
go back
bro.
on it, after the fact, take the time, research it, check the sources. Boom.
Yeah, man, shoot, man, just being able to put a presentation together with some accurate sources, man. That's a shoot, bro.
Yeah.
You know, we done came a long, long, long,
Long
long
way.
way, bro.
Absolutely, man. And
Yeah,
I'm glad, and
man.
you still holding it down, man.
Hmm.
Shit,
Yeah, and you
I
know what?
commend you on your patience. Man, you still holding it down.
Uh,
Shit, yeah, you know what? You on your
yeah, you gotta turn your screen. I think you might have your
oh,
YouTube on.
hold up.
YouTube, man.
Yeah, you gotta turn your screen. I think you might have your YouTube on.
Hey, Cedric, you know
Oh my.
we know we live, Cedric. Come on, bro. We just kicking it for a second. Yeah, you gotta turn off
Yeah,
your
my bad.
YouTube. Hold on, brother. I'm gonna mute you out. Yeah, just turn your YouTube. Got to be. I think your YouTube is on in on your background. All right. Yeah, I think that's gone right there, man. But yeah, Chuck, man, you know I didn't know you for years, man. I mean, man, crazy, bro. So we about to go ahead and get into this series presentation you got, man. And I just appreciate your work, man, on some real thing, man. So
Oh, likewise,
yeah,
likewise,
man, you good dude, man. You know, we share mutual friends, yo. You never let that shit get in the way and mix it in. You stay right
yeah,
with
I be crossing everybody's line. You must be like,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, yo.
man.
Yeah, man. So
Hey man, shit, I've known you. I think I'm probably one of the ones that known you the longest for the most part.
it's not for the most part. You see me in my infancy.
I mean, going back to the 90s.
Yeah, what?
Mm-hmm.
Man, back when you had them banging tapes, man. Goodness gracious, bro. So yeah, that man, shoot, man. We might as well just go ahead and get it going.
Bobby Banger from the block, seen it all raw tough. Streets of Baltimore where survival's always rough. Joined the Marines fighting for a life he could save. But back in the hood, he felt like a runaway slave. Started an army, not of guns but of wisdom. I'm a rock squad, truth the anthem, we ain't just a God killer. Bobby Banger on his path for the truth. Empower the people, give them wisdom as the proof. Black power rising, knowledge shines like a light. He's fighting for the future, ready to ignite. Selling drugs on the corner just to put food on plates, but deep in his heart, he knew he had greater fates. From the traps to the lab, he fights ignorance raw, teaching evolution while shaking up the law. The real black atheist is changing the game, waking up minds, never the same. God killer Bobby Banger on his path for the truth, empower the
Man, this episode is brought to you by
Hi, I'm JL Waters, and I'm the creator of the Oasis for Teachers YouTube channel. I create content for teachers who are feeling burnt out and need a refreshing and rejuvenating. On my channel, you'll find self-care tips, inspiration, and professional development. So if you're feeling burnt out as a teacher, please come and join us.
In this game of shadows, I won't hide.
man. Y'all know what it is, man. Black African Power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killing the house. And I come to do what I got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm standing tall. I'm standing strong. Hey, Bobby Banging this bitch. What's good, man? Welcome to our Sunday show, man. Community of Skeptics, man. Man, we got a guest here, man, in our inaugural event, man. We dealing with interviews at the level where we sit back with brothers and sisters that bring expert information that fits the level. So, man, let me bring him on, man. Good friend of mine from way back. He knew me before I was the God killer, man. Let me bring him on here, man. Chuck Morgan. Chuck, what's up, man? You already know what it is, bro.
My man, what's happening?
Oh man, hey Chuck, it's been years. Like people don't even know that, man. Like my introduction to understanding and really really digging into that Bible, yo, came with you on this show. I ran across you on the show called the More Better. More Better. What was it? More
No
Better.
better man.
More Better, man. And
Yeah.
and you stood out like a sore thumb, bro. You
Mhm.
had the preacher on there, you had the radio host on there,
Brother Rick.
brother Rick, yeah, brother Rick, man. And Rick had that sword out for you.
Mhm.
And you was on there coming. I'm like, who the hell is this?
We did this for hours and hours.
You were
Go
so
start at
serious.
12 into 6 in the morning. Arguing the
Oh,
date.
was that long? Oh, you know what, bro? You kind of what you did was this is when I learned how to start to understand how there's more to it than meets the eye. You
Mhm.
start bringing. This is why this conversation is great for you, right? You start bringing different text, like the Enimai Leash. You use the holy tablets to kind of feature those ancient stories, right? You use that, right? You use the Old Testament, the New Testament. You use the whole range because you say, well, wait a minute. This show is called Scriptures Unlimited.
Yeah.
That's what you stuck them at. That's what you stuck them with. The Scriptures Unlimited, and you brought all the scriptures.
We
So
came
that's where I first
unlimited.
met you at, bro.
Yeah, man. Those were the days.
Those are the days, man. And you got those tapes. I still got some of them tapes, man. Or you going through that Bible, bro. And that was really the foundation of how I really started to really being able to have that conversation, seeing these ancient, the Anunnaki and all that. That's where I first got real familiar with it and how you use it, how you made the comparisons back then. Damn near 20 years ago, the Anunnaki, Elohim, as the preacher and the other guy was going through it, you was like, well, wait a minute, this is comfortable here. Bah, bah, bah. I remember in the real time, bro. So listen, man, welcome to our inaugural interview, man. Interview on the levels, man. And so I know you just finished your class, your beginning level of Sumerian language. I know you got your receipt. Let me see that receipt because we show receipts around here, bro. You just can't tell me you're learning Sumerian. I think you're working on your second.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Let me hold on, make sure it's real. Hold on. It says completion. So you have completed what there, Chuck? You're
certified.
certified on what, Chuck? Read it.
Sumerian course, yeah.
The Sumerian course. Got you. All right. And now you're working on what? The next level, what you talk to?
Yeah, we're doing the intermediate. I'm already there. Beginning classes starting January with the Akkadian. I'm gonna work with Megan Lewis again and Gabriel Barra, one of my second Sumerian language instructor, and we're doing our thing. It's a hobby for me. I just enjoy it.
Of course.
And it's good to be able to just go through certain inscriptions and see it from, say, the Sumerian perspective, and that's what I get a kick out of. That's my thrill. But it's always been about language. Even going back when we was dealing with different groups, in spite of everything else, the brothers that I knew, when they would study the Arabic or the Hebrew, it was always fascinating to me to watch them, kick it on the street. So just because I think that so many people had got caught, or so many people were studying the Medinetter, my whole fascination with the Mesopotamian thing, particularly with Sumerian, that goes all the way back to the 70s. So, watching Gilligan's Island was like the moment that I first came across it. In that episode, they discovered tablets that washed up on the shore, and then the professor supposed to have been able to decipher. That was where I got my first tapping into that area, and it's been fascinated with it ever since. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I really buckled down and just put my focus on the language itself, the grammar, and still moving with it.
Yeah, you moving strong, man. First of all, man, let me give Take Brooks.
The shadow, he has the green glow. Take Brooks has the green glow.
Yeah, man, he's an official member, and I would like to shout you out, Take Brooks, for that donation you made a couple days ago while the show was going on. I didn't get a chance to shout you out, bro. I've been waiting for you to come back through, man. We appreciate your support, yo. We all need it, man. And big up to you, yo, to becoming a member of the channel, man. I'll drop the link. Moderators drop the link so other people can get the
Green glow.
You know what I'm saying? All day, every day. All right, man. So listen, let's get right into it, bro. So we heard the Billy Carson and Wes conversation, bro. And they got to that area of where you flourish at. Okay, they
Yeah.
talked about the Enimai leash, talked about putting the fishdom. You know what I'm saying? I know that's part of your study, man. So this is where you come in. What is it that you think we should know, right? When dealing with the Anunnaki. Ladies and gentlemen, brother Chuck Morgan. Here
Well,
you go. I'm gonna throw it up for you. Want me to throw it up for you now? You presentation.
yeah, you can throw it up.
All right, Mr. Chuck Morgan. Let's get it in.
Yeah. So it really, if nothing else, that I leave with your audience, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Um, if nothing else, I want you to at least understand that what has been said before by different people, such as Billy Carson, Zechariah Sitchin, even York, about Anu to Ki and all this other stuff. I think that once you understand just this basic element of how that word was brought into the system of Sumerian literature, then you get a better understanding of how they saw it. And then over time, it evolved by different groups, and they came up with whole new concepts behind it. So let's begin real fast, and it's not going to be long. It's real simple, very short. So here we go. The Anunnaki, and this is from the person who actually one of the individuals who helped me get my website up, or at least inspired me to do so, at their advice. Michael Heiser, the late Michael Heiser. He stated that it is my hope that these articles will provide primary source data and inform scholarly discussions to blunt the nonsense about the Anunnaki that has proliferated prol- that has proliferated on the internet. The choice is simple. One can either base one's knowledge about the Anunnaki on the absurd speculations of ancient astronaut theorists, speculations that are completely absent from the cuneiform tablets, or one can allow the Sumerians and other Mesopotamian writers to speak for themselves. And I think that that was very important for him to lay out. So, first, the Anuna, because whenever you hear that, it's very rare if you ever hear anyone mention Anuna, but this is where it starts. So, Anuna makes its first appearance in post Akkadian, Gudaian, Sumerian literature as gods of the royal seed. Now, this goes back about 2125 BC, or 4,149 years ago, and can be found in the cylinder inscription, the building of Ngirsu's temple, where it designates the gods of the Sumerian city, Lagash, minus the main god, who was Ngirsu, who was Gudaia's personal and beloved god. And according to the scribes, these Anuna would stand with Gudea in prayer. One passage goes, he built the house of Ngirsu, and the royal seed of the land of Lagash stood by Gudea in prayer and supplication. And further on, it says, oh, you of the royal seed, may you pray for me. So I just wanted to get down there so you can see where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Anuna is the word the Sumerians used, not Anunnaki. Not Anu. If you look at these little cuneiform characters, you have An, Na, and Ki. You won't find in Sumerian literature that these Anuna were sent from Anu to Ki. Zechariah Sitchin and Billy Carson have falsely claimed it was from that planet. The Sumerian text repeatedly and persistently stated that the Anunnaki came to Earth. The term literally means those who from heaven to earth came. That's not what the word means. And now this passage is from Zechariah Sitchin's book, Genesis Revisited, page 30. If the Sumerians stated that, then it wouldn't be Anunnaki. It would literally be Anta Kalam She, from heaven to earth came. Anta Kalam She. An is the Sumerian sky god. Okay. Dingir is also used for heaven or sky. Ta is the ablative case ending from. When you say from, when they attach these little case endings, it changes the meaning of words. So from showing motion to be away from something. So that's what ta would be there. Kalam is what is used for land, ground. Some people interpret it as earth. She follows kalam in this case, which is the terminative case marker to or towards going in a direction. So if Sitchin and Carson truly knew how to read and translate Sumerian, then they would have seen this in Sumerian writing. And this is, to me, further evidence that both Sitchin and Carson, they were either ignorant of this fact or they were intentionally lying. Now, I do know, and I've seen, excuse me, I've seen Billy Carson hold up Learn to Read Ancient Sumerian, the book by one of my instructors, Megan Lewis, who's a co-author. But if he truly did go through the book, he definitely would have known this, because in just the early stages of the basics of it, he would know about how case endings are applied to these words. But I think that was just more propaganda that he was just using, and he had no intention of being honest about it. So, Anun Ak, royal children or priestly offspring, gods of the Sumerian pantheon. Number one, is the Sumerian word when referencing water, semen, sperm, liquid. In Sumerian grammar, a single cuneiform sign can represent three things. A word, in this case, A2, which is house or temple. B is a syllable, like you see here, the andu, ga, andu. Ga is the word that's used for milk. And then you have A, which is do 3, and this is used to denote something built. So we know that this is not Anu right here, because it wouldn't make any sense. So that is used for another purpose, which is for my pronunciation purpose. And of course, we know C as being it's used as a determinative. And in the case where we have this God here, Enlil. So this determinative, which is not pronounced, you know that what is to follow this is going to be a deity name. And in this case, it would be Enlil. Now, although the determinative Dingir usually appears before all deity names, including Anuna, however, in this case, it's not referencing the single deity An. If you were talking, if An was being referenced, it would just be An by itself. They were commonly referred to and defined as Galga Ene, or Dingir Galga Ene, and that would be great gods, and not those who from heaven to earth came. And this is from, as many people who study Medu-Neter or the Egyptian language, you have a database referred, I think they call it the TLA. This would be like the equivalent of the TLA, which is the Electronic Pennsylvania Sumerian Dictionary, where you get the attestations, all the places where you can find this in an inscription, when it began, et cetera, et cetera. So in the case for because this is the first word that you find, let me go back up. When you see Anunnaki or Anuna, this is the word here. We know that this is talking about a group of deities, so that's why that will be there. But here is the actual word. So you have and as you can see, it goes back to the early dynastic 3 period, as it was found 25 times and so on, going all the way down to Old Babylonian, et cetera, et cetera. And it tells you right here, it's water, course, semen, sperm, progeny, flood, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, Nun is a Sumerian term used for royalty, or priestly, as people say, in its gender neutral. Na has the genitive ending ak, which is of. The word Nun ends in a consonant. As you see, it ends in a consonant, the N, when we see in transliteration, this consonant. And if something follows the A, the K is to be written. Sumerian is a very complicated language, and once you think you got it going in one way, you come to find out it has a whole set of rules that almost sometimes even contradict the other rules. So it's time consuming, and it takes years and years and years. I'm just into scratching the surface of it. So words that end in consonants, as in this case, the N or N on Nun, it then becomes duplicated where you see two N's. So you have A, Nun, you have Nun here, and then that duplication. As an example, you have A, or you have A Lugala, A2, temple, Lugal, king, and this being the Ak, because you see the A is the equivalent of the English word of, Lugal ends in a consonant, the L, therefore it's duplicated and you have two L's here. So Lugal La, followed by Ak, which is the genitive marker of. So you'll have Lugal La, A Lugal La, or temple or house of the king. And this way it swivels. This is how I was taught. That you have the house or temple. You'll know with the duplication of in transliteration, and then you have the subject here, which is the king. So Anuna is the collective singular, while Anunakene is the plural because of the use of ane. So you have right here, you have Anuna, you have Ak, and then you have ane. Okay, and that will be the plural. That's how you pluralize words. You have it as ane. Okay, so you have Nun, Gal, ane, which would be great rulers, plural. Ane, Nun, Gal, great rulers. And you have Gal, ane. You have this little D here. That's a determinative, which will be this. But in transliteration, instead of putting that, you will, of course, put the little D, letting you know that's a determinative, and what is to follow is making reference to great or gods, because this word here is talking about those being the great ones. And that context is key in whenever you're dealing with this stuff. So Anunnaki, in Akkadian and Babylonian, that came later and defined as also being of the royal or priestly seed. It's not Anunnaki, as you will see here, Anunnaki, because the determinative ki here isn't present, except in certain Akkadian and Babylonian inscriptions, such as, and I think that's important because these little determinatives, these little things here, when you're reading, at least in transliteration, when we transliterate and then we normalize it, we know that little things like this play a key role in understanding how they were conveying a certain point, as opposed to where we just read today in English and something just saying that this is talking about the Anunnaki and they did this and they did that. So that's the whole point I was trying to make with this, that the determinative ki follows toponyms or place names such as Dingir, Ki, Lagash. And Lagash was the city, and that little right here, this is letting you know that it's talking about a place name. And these are just different variations of how it was used in Sumerian literature. You have Anna, gods of the sky. You have Kia, gods of the land. An, Kia, gods of the land and sky, and so on and so forth. In one of the last Sumerian attestations of the Anuna can be found in the inscription Lamet for Anun or Uruk. The Gudeans attacked Sumer, unalive the people. Sumer is nearly destroyed, as are the cities and the temples that these gods dwelled in, as line 71 states. They, fragment, missing line. Like stampeding goats, they tore apart the corpses of the population. They mutilated Sumer and the populace. They pulverized it as with a pestle. They destroyed its settlements and habitations. They razed them to ruin. They, they razed them to ruin. The best of Sumer they scattered like dust. They heaped up, missing line. They massacred its populace. They finished off young and old alike. They destroyed the city of the royal seas. They set it aflame. And this is line 71 from the Lament of Anug. And as you can see in the inscription here, you have Anun, Na, Ke, Ane. So it's all right there. And this is an excellent book, and I highly recommend it for anyone that's trying to get into the basics and understanding of this whole word, Anuna, as where it's found in ancient scripts. So Anunnaki and Igigu, which most people say here now is Agigi, like the Sumerian Anuna, the Akkadian term Igigu and Anunnaki are confined to specific text genres. They only appear in the literary works, the myth epics, and hymns, as well as in the religious texts, the prayers, the incantations, and finally in the hymnal sections of the royal inscriptions. The absence of both terms in the other monumental inscriptions, especially in the economic and administrative documents, as well as in the name formation, shows that even in the 1500th year, Akkadian tradition, neither Igigu nor Anunnaki could obtain independent character and influence in the cult practice or folk religion. Like at the beginning of their history, both groups remain vague variables whose meaning primarily exhausts itself to include the remaining pantheon into a litany at the end of the list of individual deities, or otherwise to form the background of deities mentioned by name and to emphasize their power and glory. In the epic text, the Igigu as well as Anunnaki form a nameless mass of faces. I thought that was important because whenever you read any of these ancient texts and they start talking about the Anunnaki, you don't get a list of who these Anunnaki are by name. You just hear most people go Enlil, Enki, and Hersag, these type. That's basically what you hear. But with all of them, they're just vague. It's just a general blanket term for gods, and they have different amounts. You have some says that it was 7, then others say it was 50, then 300, and then 600, and on and on and on, which we'll point out right now. Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is a loan word from the Sumerian and goes back to the genitive word combination Anuna of the royal seed. The available data on the amount of Anunnaki cannot be fully determined. These Anunnaki, who were counted by the hundreds in the god group and are not specified by name in either Sumerian, Akkadian, nor Babylonian literature. The Akkadian tradition knows several collective terms for these gods. You have Ilu, Rabatum, great gods, Ilu, Matum, the gods of the land, and so forth. Anunnaki appears as underworld gods in the Enuma Anu Enlil. That's a specific text. Enuma Anu Enlil. Now, in that text, it includes Marduk, who, in one of the many creation epics of how human beings were created, he is one who's responsible for the creation of people. Where I put a little excerpt. This is coming out of the Enuma Elish text. I will condense blood and produce bones. I shall make stand a human being. Let man be its name. Labor of the gods will be imposed upon them. You can find that in tablet 6, line 5 through 8. Now, Igigu, or Igigi, the name Igigu is ambiguous with no linguistic interpretation, which is why people are real confused about it, and they pretty much come up with anything regarding it because there's no real paper trail on it. Because both the modern etymology as well as attempts to locate ancient Mesopotamian glossaries which preserve the semantics of Sumergrams, their phonetic value, and their Akkadian or other language equivalents, its lexical list can't be found. Now, I don't want to necessarily go through this, but this is coming from the prestigious, openly rich, annotative cuneiform corpus, or ORAC, which you can pull up. This is released through the University of Pennsylvania, and it gives you a pretty good breakdown of the term igigu, and it's equally being complicated and in need of a comprehensive new study. And on and on. I guess if you pause this when watching the video, you can probably go through it, or you can go right to that website. It's real easy to pull up. Just Google it. And coming to the end, one of the most outstanding indications of the amount of the Anunnaki and Igigu can be found in the 6th tablet of Anuma Elish. After the creation of man, the epic speaks about the establishment of a new divine order through Marduk, king of the gods, who dispatches and divides the gods into the heavens, the ground, and the underworld, the Apsu. And this being a fragment of the 6th tablet, which you find in the British Museum. And so here, this is the Akkadian inscription of the verse that we're going to go through. What the verse says, where it talks about Marduk, the king of the gods, divided all the royal seed into those of the skies and ground groups. He assigned Anu to guard his instructions. He, Marduk, established a garrison of 300 in the heavens. Then he designated those for the netherworld. 600 he made dwell in heaven and the netherworld. All the royal seeds of heaven, the 300 Igigu gods of heaven, and the 600 of Apsu. And you can find this in the 6th tablet as well. Now, this is what I did. I try to go, I merged all, so you go with the 39 through 46, and then 68 through 69, where that point is made clear. And you can pull this up. You can pull up any translation of the Enuma Elish Tablet 6, and this particular thing goes in starting at line 39. So in conclusion, this again coming from Michael Heiser's book, where you'll find Adam Falkenstein, his translation by Dorothea Clapper. It is significant that the evidence for Anuna, as well as those for Dingir, Galgal, and other aforementioned designations, can exhaustively be found in literary texts. They are not mentioned in the numerous administrative documents that deal with the offering for different deities. Neither do any temple exist that would have been dedicated to the Anunnaki or to one of the mentioned groups of gods. You'll find, like in Nippur or what's the word? Nibru, you'll find that being the sacred temple of the Enlil, but you won't find one for the Anunnaki. So neither do any temples exist that would have been dedicated to the Anunnaki or to one of the mentioned group of gods. This shows that the ideas pertaining to the Anunnaki did not gain any influence on cult practice. The fact that they do not appear in personal names either further indicates that the Anunnaki gods, as a group among gods, were not included in the sphere of the private religious world. And that is the end. And that's it.
Okay, so let's all right. So I got a group of questions I want to ask, and I'm gonna let the people on so we can really further this conversation, bro. So that was interesting at the end. So let's start with that last slide there. And that last slide, yeah, put that last slide back up. All right, I got a question about a few slides there. I wanted to let you finish. Then I wanted to kind of, I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
No problem.
Big up to Anusha. Big up. Okay, so we have it right here, this last slide here. So what does this actually mean? Because if we're talking about the Elohim, it has profound influence. The author's writing of it has an influence of the creation, right? Also has an influence throughout the whole biblical text now. So we see that. So what is this saying? Would this be like strictly the deities of royalty, or what are they actually saying? Since it has no direct influence on the actual religion itself. That's interesting.
Well, because well, it's basically like this. Although these were a part of the culture
Mhm.
of ancient Mesopotamia, it wasn't significant enough that they played such a prominent role in things pertaining to the private religious world as they have here, or having such an influence over the people that they built shrines or temples, or
Mm.
even had visual icons of the Anunnaki. Because one of the things that if you ever taken time to look at it, you don't have illustrations in Mesopotamian literature of the group of Anunnaki. You have them mentioned all the way up until Ashur, is it Ashurbanipal, but you don't have any visual representations of them. You'll have some of, say, uh, Enki as being a water deity. You'll see several illustrations of him in Akkadian iconography. But as a collective, and even in some scarce places, you'll find, at least they haven't uncovered it. But as a collective group, Anunnaki, even if there were, say, 10 or 7, you
Mhm.
don't have them depicted visually, which is an indication that they looked at it. I can speculate. They looked at it as being what it was, just you know, stories, mythical stories.
Mm. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the slide before that.
Hmm.
Let's see. Click one more slide.
Hmm.
One more. Is this the one talking about the underworld?
Yeah, this yeah.
Okay, so question. So would the underworld be comparable to heaven or hell? Or
Well,
what?
they have how they would now, according to the Akkadians,
Okay.
because the Sumerian thing is they have a whole different rendition of it.
Okay.
This is here discussing the story of the hero of the epic Marduk and those Anunnaki that were in the skies. Because again, being of the royal seed, these were people that they considered to be greater than themselves. Marduk himself would be a part of that group. So you
Mm.
had those that were designated for the skies. You had some that were designated for the lands. And then you had those who were in the netherworld or the underworld, which is the place where they say the dead reside.
So that would be like a what, like kind of heaven, or well, I'm just trying to put it together for the
Well,
audience, like a
well, the
kind of
way
clear.
that the Sumerians as well as Akkadians, how they envisioned the world, they were couldn't be technically flat earthers
Okay, got
because
you.
you had
Makes sense.
the canopy of the sky,
Hmm.
you had the kalam, which is the land, and then you had that which was underneath.
Hmm. Okay, so one moment, let's pause here because that flat Earth thing right there, and it would actually be proper for them to look at the world right in terms of it being flat, because the whole understanding of the Earth moving through space, 1,000 miles an hour, rotating, water being able to stick to the round circle, whatever you want to say, it's really counterintuitive, right? So ancient people, right? I clearly understand why ancient people thought the earth was flat based off of the fact that your senses weren't
Mhm.
even evolved to even understand the size and shape and the proximity to where this earth was. So I understand, it makes sense for that time period right there. So I wanted to thank you for bringing that
And
particular part up.
for the record, uh, in Sumer, well, I didn't say Sumerian, in Babylonian astronomy, They only give. I can stop sharing this, right? They only give, or they only know of 5 planets that they document. They only document about 5. And when people, I'll give you an example. Like when Zechariah Sitchin or Billy Carson will talk about all these other planets, and then the 12th planet being Nibiru and all this other stuff. Um, that's not something that the ancients wrote. That's something that 1973 Zechariah Sitchin put out,
Mhm.
because we don't have anything more than that. Those 5 known planets that they could see and
Mhm.
document. So
Mhm.
with the
Makes sense.
inscription Mu'apen, which is a Babylonian astronomy text, which
Mhm.
it mentions these planets, um, the star systems, constellations, all of this stuff that they documented in literature,
Mhm.
in ancient literature, about what their astronomers could witness. And the brightest one,
Mhm.
depending on the time of the year, seemed to move across the sky, and that was referred to as Nebu, no, Neberu.
Oh, say it ain't so. Now that you know that pops up in the cult of Malachi York. That pops up more recently when people start saying, "Is that a new planet?" That's interesting right there, bro. So you made a statement here. I think it was on slide 6. You talk about no linguistic interpretation, right? And when I hear that,
Mhm.
now I understand how Zachariah Sitchin, how Malachi York, how
Mhm.
Billy Carson and them do what they do. Okay, they take advantage of the fact that there's no linguistic interpretation. You want to kind of expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, because what they can do is they can put anything they want in it.
Mm.
Um, so I'm gonna give you an example. All right. Let me see if I can try to pull something up. All right. Can I? I'm gonna
Yeah, just put it.
try
I
to,
got you.
yeah, but try to share. This is an article that I did for. Hold up. Can you find us? Hold up. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, take your time. Hey,
Oh, here.
y'all listening to interviews
Yeah, I'm gonna share this.
at the level, non-experts giving expert information. And look, man, this is what this is, man. So if the team can see that you're at the level, you may not be an expert, but you're at the level. We make
Mhm.
sure you get a chance to put that information out there. It's got to be in this type of format. Can't be no long drawn out nonsense. You got to know your daggone material. All right, and we reading the book and all the whole thing. No, we're not doing that. All right, what you
No.
got here, Chuck? Ooh, I
Um.
see the pictures. I see the York pictures. I see the scam. Scamming. It's definitely scam. They
Um.
scammed the hell out of us.
What something that I came across, and I did this on my own. Then um, I shared it with a couple of seriologists that I know, and they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, that makes pretty much makes good sense." Um, okay, so because no one was talking about Nibiru, of course, Sitchin could come up with just about anything, and
Mhm.
he did. And
And he
then
did.
Malachi York, he parlayed on an empire based in part of this nonsensical mess, and then Billy Carson has elaborated on it. So what I was pointing out was, all right, so you have this term here, Nibru, okay? When you see the name Enlil, right? Enlil Key, because it's, well, you don't pronounce the key, but this is letting you know that this is that land, Nibru. And what he did was he took the transliteration, or the English word, the way that we spell it, if we write it out, normalize it, um, he took Nibru, which was the sacred city on earth, the temple where Enlil was to reside in on earth. He took that and added an extra I. Here's the excavated temple right here. Okay. So what he did was, let me see, because I wrote it out. Yeah, right here. So using the English, if the I is added to Nibru, it then changes and becomes Nibiru. It's as simple as that. That's what he did.
Wow.
Because whenever he talked about Nibiru, he always said the Sumerians said this about Nibiru. The Sumerians wrote about the planet ship or the place called Nibiru that the Anunnaki were on. So when you say, well what? Because you never showed it. I mean, Zechariah, you never showed it. Sitchin, York never showed it. Billy Carson never showed it. You never go to the inscription that's in a Sumerian text that says Nibiru because it's not a Sumerian word. The word is Nibru, which is the sacred temple of Enlil. And you even have passages, you have text. In his journey to Nibru. You see? So
Interesting.
it was well known, but that was one of the con games. And then the stories that were associated, how do you get out of it? The stories that were associated with it. Um, oh, so the stories that were associated with it, like saying that there were 12 planets, and then Nibiru comes through every 3,600 years, and then it collided with. Hold on, let me find it. I'm gonna pull something else up. Yeah. None of that stuff is found in. First of all, it's not found in any Mesopotamian text. It's not there. Doesn't exist. Nibiru coming through, crashing into a planet, destroying half of it, creating the moon. None of that stuff is mentioned.
Tiamat. So, okay, let me show this to the people real fast, just to give them a glimpse on how the trick was performed on us. And if we would have had you back then, bro, it wouldn't have happened, which is very interesting. And we know people continue to based off Billy Carson's last hoorah, we see people are continuing the pseudoisms. And so right here, here's your guy. This is Zachariah Ascension, right? He's the one. And what is he famous for? His work was criticized for flawed methodology, ignoring archaeological and historical evidence, and mistranslating the ancient texts, as well as for incorrect astronomical and scientific claims. This is what brother just finished killing. This is what you just put the rest there, bro.
Yeah.
All right, Chuck.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
let me
you
one
go ahead.
last thing, if I could, because this is along that same line, and I just wanted to share this last.
I didn't clicked off. It killed itself, shot itself. Gotta get back up here, Chuck. So anyway, my point was this whole presentation is kind of in an informal ways trying to show you how they got you. Okay, that's what we doing right here. So this source right here shows clearly what Zachariah Ascension was messing up. You fell off, Chuck.
Yeah, my fault.
All right,
Let me. I just wanted to pull this last thing up
go
because
ahead, pull it up.
what I was pointing out was, where's it at? Oh, here we go. Like this thing here. This is what brought the Zechariah Stitchins. That was his claim to fame. This little Akkadian cylinder seal right here,
Mhm,
and then the little configuration right here.
mhm.
So what he didn't really expound on was the fact that in the text Enuma Anu Enlil, they give you those that they literally name those five planets. So you have right here. You have Venus keeps changing its position across the heavens. Mars keeps changing its position across the heavens. Saturn keeps Mercury, whose name is Nerta, raises each month and sets each month either in the east or the west. Right? Jupiter keeps changing its position. I should have written it this way. But the point is that in the Sumerian literature, they use Mul, which is that little star, which is the denier making reference to the god's planet. In this case, Sagmegar would be Jupiter. To the Akkadians and so forth, it was Neberu. Neberu. So what I was pointing out was
Mhm.
that I was pointing out that um, Nibiru, what it says that it was a realization that the planet, the Sumerians, the Sumerian text called Nibiru, planet of the crossings, was neither Mars nor Jupiter, as some scholars have debated, but another planet that passes between them every 3,600 years that gave rise to my first book entitled The 12th Planet, the planet which is the 12th member of the solar system, although technically is as a planet only the 10th. It was from that planet that the Sumerian text repeatedly and persistently stated that the Anunnaki came to Earth. So these people traveled in the Nibiru. But this is how he was able to get away with it, because had we had access to many of the databases, the um, the literature that is available online now, released through universities, museums,
Mhm.
where they did the work. And if you study the language, you'll be able to follow along. You'll be able to even expand upon it. You'll see that he didn't know what he was talking about. He lied, because the planetary names found in Mu'abin, which is that astronomical text, you have right here, Ulu Idem Gu, you have Salbat Anu, and you have Dilibat, Venus, and of course Sagmegar, which is Jupiter. So they don't have the other planets. You don't have Uranus, you don't have Neptune, of course you don't have Pluto, but that's what they theorized, that this is what's being said here. But of course, nothing in the inscription says anything about planets here. Nothing
Wow.
at all.
Scamming.
Scam,
Zachariah Finch is deemed a scammer. Got him.
indeed. That's it. And that's
Yeah,
about it.
he's the platform that they all jumped off of. That right there, that's the foundation of the whole thing that y'all hear permeating through the conscious community. I say it all the time, man. You get discredited Europeans. It's the foundation of the conscious community.
So the point that I was trying to say, and what I was hoping that if you leave with nothing else, understand that when they talk about Anunnaki, they're not talking about some space people riding a craft, going across the solar system, and then bumping into Earth, and then out of sympathy came to Earth to get some gold and take back to some planet. Nor do they have sympathy and then they create human beings
Mhm.
by taking monkeys and then jumpstart an evolution by
Mhm.
mixing their blood.
Mhm.
That's not in any of these ancient texts.
Mhm.
If you read any of those ancient creation epics, they have many and they have different variations of it, but none of them goes into any detail talking about mixing any blood with primates, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm. Mm. So we got people coming in the building to ask questions. I
Hmm.
would like to ask this last question before I start letting people up to ask the question, man. Big up, like and subscribe to the channels, man. Like and subscribe to the pseudo killers, community skeptics, man. Show some love, show some support, man. And we appreciate our good brother Chuck Morgan coming through with this clarity that would have saved all of us if we would have had it prior to.
I mean, I was in it, so I was out there pushing it too. I was promoting it, but I woke up.
Woke up fast. Appreciate that. So my question is, um, what I think I want to say, you talked about the Akkadians, you talked
Mhm.
about the Gutians,
Mhm.
right? And so the Sumerians actually predate them. Am I correct in that? And would the Sumerians be a Bantu speaking people? Would they be black people? That's my question.
Okay. Well, from what we know and from what Assyriologists have presented, is the Akkadians and the people called Sumerian Sanginga. They lived amongst each other. They lived pretty, harmonious up until the time that Charukin or Sargon started dominating and taking over territories and rounding up city states. But they pretty much lived amongst each other. That's why you'll find a lot of loan words in Sumerian as well as in Akkadian, because of the two societies living so close amongst each other and having transferring of languages. As far as they being black people, I take a different approach to that now. Instead of me just going into my dissertation, I just ask, what is the definition of black with regards to Sumerians? And I need to get that, because once that's established, then we can move to the next level.
Are they indigenous African people from the continent that went over there and started civilization? Let me get that better. Let me ask you that.
As far as that being the case, I haven't seen any evidence from Sumerian literature that confirms it. I haven't come across really any Assyriologists or Sumerologists who read and study the language and the culture. They haven't asserted or made that point. You have fringe groups of people who come up with multiple theories. You got people who saying that the Sumerians were ancient Indians. The Indus Valley civilization. Even though the Sumerians talk about them, and they did have a serious trade route with the Indus Valley civilization, importing goods, et cetera, even having intermarriages. They have that connection with them, but they don't identify themselves as being a part of that group. Some people have surmised that the Elamites were Sumerians. They don't talk about them as other than they being a war people that brought pain and suffering onto the people of Sumer, of the Marsh area. So no, I don't find anything to support that. Okay. I'm not saying it's not true, but
no
the data that we have today, no.
Okay, approximate. Okay, Francis, we got the first caller. What's your question for Brother Chuck, man? What's going on, Francis, man? Welcome to the platform, man. Welcome to the show.
Brother Chuck, what's going on?
How are you?
Let me ask a question. Is any truth to the fact that Medu nature could be a key to deciphering some of the languages that you're talking about, or is that not true at all?
Well, I don't anymore. I don't study Medu nature. I did take a couple of classes with Brother Wajaru, but my fascination was more with this, and academically, is that connection is just not there. Again, you do have people on the fringe of society when it comes to this stuff that are making all kinds of claims and putting up words and trying to use cognizance and this and that, but the wordings, the terms that's being used, we just don't find them in Sumerian. Because depending on, if you were to take the glossary of the words that individuals may be trying to use either in from Sanskrit or just Egyptian language, you would have to go and take the individual word by word to find out if that is indeed a Sumerian term or an Akkadian term, is it a loan word, and so forth. But in as it stands today in academia, no.
All right, man. Thank you, Mr. Francis, man. Let me get my main man up here, man. In the army of pseudo killers, man. What's up, Christian, no Christian, and all that? What's on your mind, brothers, bro? Man? What's good?
Hey, Chuck, that was a good presentation, man. I enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
The only thing is, Chuck, man, I don't like you no more, man. Cause you took away the gold, you took away the gods coming to earth. Anunnaki, them folks, they ain't black no more.
I mean, you can always go back into it.
Man,
Hey, listen, look, Hey, dig this. Even though I know what I know or can prove what I assert, I still watch Chariots of the Gods.
Okay.
I love that documentary.
Some good entertainment.
That was a movie, a documentary that me and my father. That's one of the beautiful memories I have of me and my father. Because my father was an insomniac, I'm an insomniac, and we would watch the Late Show.
Okay.
And we would all be on in DC. It would be on WJLA Channel 7, just before the TV goes to snow. It was before cable and all that stuff. And you know,
Your age there.
I remember watching you know, the pyramid, the Sphinx, talking things about the Bible, but then they talked about at the museum in Iraq, you have some characters with cuneiform characters that the storyline bears a striking resemblance to the books of Genesis. You know, and the music in the background kind of soothes you and puts you in that trance. And those are one of the great memories I have of me and my pops, because he was into those kind of studies, and he would just sit back, you know, be fascinated, and we would just watch it. And he would just cover it all over the world. Eric von Daniken's book, then they put the German version, then the English version. So in 1973, that was the one that we watched.
Okay.
And that was that I believe it or not, when I'm at work every Friday, I still watch it.
Okay, that's what's up,
I
man.
pull that joint up on YouTube and just watch it. I don't believe a word of it, but I enjoy, you know, the way it's done. It's well organized.
Right.
You know, right on.
Right.
It's well
organized line. Interesting.
I wasn't gonna say it, huh? So look, let me hit you with my question, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of the so we got some people in the Levant, Israelites. Everybody want to try to be them today. Everybody claiming the Hebrews for some reason. But anyway, how much of their beliefs is influenced by the things that you're talking about now?
Well, it depends. It depends on what you're talking about.
Can you think of anything in particular? How about that?
Well, yeah. I mean, depending on the stories, you have the Akkadian in Numa Elish. Portions of it have similarities in the opening. It's in the creation epic. Portions are extracted from it, elaborated, innovated. The Epic of Gilgamesh has elements in it as well. The Atrahasis has elements in it. I think there's a text called, if I can't remember it off the top of my head now, but the story is that Enlil there's a tower that's built, and Enlil confuses languages as they're building.
Okay.
And Enlil, you can't get more parallel than that.
Right.
If I wish I could pull it off. Emerkar, I think it's called Emerkar or something. I'm sorry, I can't remember it off the top of my head. I did an article on it. I don't know if I can pull it up. But matter of fact, what I'm gonna do is tonight, after this airs, I'm gonna put it in the comment section.
Okay.
Put the quote, and I'm gonna put the source where you can pull it up and see it. So there are a number of passages from Mesopotamian literature.
Okay.
That scribes may have heard over the years, and then they put their rendition of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because stories.
That's what I've been able to.
Right?
That's what I've been able to uncover in with these ancient writings. That, not saying that everything is word for word, no, but there are connections, because somewhere these are stories. These clay tablets that these people were reading, the people weren't reading it. It was the scribes who was reading the stuff, and they would read these out in the courtyard and things like that. And of course, people may have heard it and then pass it on, because word of mouth passes on. And the same way that we have with Akkadian of the Akkadians, then you have the Babylon, not the Gudians, because they didn't even have nothing; they were just dumb. But
what's that again? The Gudian.
Yeah, the Gujian, that's what the Sumerians referred to them as, people who were so savage they couldn't even speak. Their words were like they were like dog barking.
They must have had a good army,
They
though.
didn't have a written text, anything
But
like
they're
that.
fighting.
They
Now,
must have had a good army, huh?
They got no time for talking.
well, they were raiders. And by that
Mm.
time, because of the famine that was taking place in Mesopotamia, particularly in the march areas, they had become weakened not only by famine,
Adultery, right?
but also from the Elamites, the Amartu, or who were the Amorites. They were already being hit from multiple levels. But these bandits were coming in, raiding, and eventually they came in, took over until I think it was Lugal-Zaghazi was able to finally, I believe it was Lugal-Zaghazi, that they were able to push them out. Ultimately, well, actually, they defeated the Akkadians and then took over.
Mhm.
And then by the time we get to this period called the Renaissance or 3 period, that's when you have this resurgence of Sumerian culture, language, and society. And that was the period where you get the majority of all this Sumerian literature, which is literally hundreds of thousands of texts, plate tablets, cone tablets, bone tablets. You had all of these writings that were just because their language had been eliminated for the most part by the Akkadians. Because even though the Akkadians utilized the cuneiform writing system, they had pretty much banned the Sumerian language except in sacred places like temples and things like that.
Okay. All right.
Even the
Hey,
Neo-Assyrians, huh?
I was going to ask. I got time for more questions. You want me to fall out and you bring
No,
somebody?
you got time. You got time.
Oh, okay.
Make sure the last one. Go ahead. You got time. Go ahead, bro.
I got to pick this girl up at like
Yeah,
4
because
o'clock.
we know we had about 1 minute. We got 1 hour 31. So yeah, we got about 3 more minutes. Go ahead.
All right, so let me ask you this because there's been I've also heard some fighting back and forth about which writing system. I don't know how familiar you are with Kemet, Medu Neter,
Mhm.
Egypt, all that stuff. But there's always some fighting back and forth. Which civilization was first? Whose writing form came first? Who borrowed from? Because there's one guy. I don't want to call his name. I don't want to give him
I
shine.
know you go ahead and say.
But there's one guy. He
don't count.
stands 10 toes down that the Medu Neter is a borrowed system from cuneiform. Like, so what do you normally say when you hear those kind of arguments?
Well, personally, I've never made the connection or I never investigated which one of those came first. Depending on the data of an Assyriologist or an Egyptologist, Finkelstein, I think his name is, says that it was the Sumerian language came first, and then you have Egyptologists that it was the sacred writings of the Egyptians. It all depends. I don't know. I don't know, and I never really investigated it. Maybe in time I will, but that's not something. That area is not. I hear the arguments, but I've never really investigated it.
Okay, so you're not a blackologist. That's why. That's
I wouldn't consider myself. I'm me.
If you was a blackologist, you'd have known all this.
But what I would say is, and I think people miss this point, and I think it kind of came up earlier. There, as it stands now, pretty much in academia, it's understood that the people who are called Sumerians, Sangiga, they came or arrived in the marsh areas, or they arrived there from somewhere, because there were people there prior, and no one talks about them necessarily. The Ubaid people, I can't remember the others.
Shit, you talking about what, 4,000 BC?
That goes back as far, yeah,
somewhere back
they
there.
were they at one of the reasons why the Sagiga people were so popular, one, not to mention the fact of their writings, but specifically cuneiform, that writing system. The people that they, for the most part, inherited or took over, they had what they call today proto-cuneiform, which is a pictorial form of writing, but there's so little known about it that you really can't come up with any full definitive conclusions on it, because it's not something that you can go in and you can transcribe it or transliterate it, because it's just not an understanding of it. So it is speculated today that the Sumerians, they took parts of it and innovated that writing, or that pictorial system, and developed it into wedge writing. And many other people, Amorites, Hittites, Neo-Assyrians, they utilized that cuneiform writing script. They utilized it, and by that time the Sumerians were long gone. And I think it was
everything's in steps anyway. So
and like I said, for me, personally, just for this topic like Anunnaki and stuff, I really don't even like talking about it. My focus, I like, my thing is like dealing with the Or 3 period. Gudea is my man. That's my favorite. I'm the little guy. That what they call the Renaissance period. I prefer that, and the royal inscriptions, administrative text. A lot of the spiritual stuff, that's not my thing. All that spooky, that ain't my thing. I don't really like talking about it. But
so
because
you burned out. You burned out.
I got burned out.
Ain't no, not burned out. He overwhelmed. He like, man, I just can't burn out.
No, we did that years ago. That's why that spookism is burned thoroughly out, yo. Like being around you and then all the time.
Enlil, Enki, and I don't want to talk about that. But because it's popular now, and I want to do my part, because this is a hobby that I enjoy, and I enjoy reading it because I'm always in it. I just don't like guys like that come out and they're so authoritative and telling you stuff, and it's a lie what they say.
Trash.
I mean, Billy Carson needs to do what he want to do with the whole Christian thing. That's their thing. But when he starts going into that, he has to be that has to be addressed.
Right.
And because and don't get me wrong, I'm not an Assyriologist, and I don't play one on YouTube. What I do is, this is a hobby. I surround myself with some pretty sharp individuals, Assyriologists, Sumerologists. I'm a part of a Discord group where we go through that. We have a YouTube channel on Saturdays where we translate specific cuneiform Sumerian inscriptions. And when you're doing this stuff, you got to understand. You got Emissal, which is like.
Can we get that link? Can we get that link? Can we get that link?
I have to put it up.
Put it. You can put it in the back, Ryan. I can put it out there.
And you have Akkadian words, and it's very rigorous in trying to translate an ancient Sumerian text, because there's so many other things that you're going to be confronted with when you're going through this stuff. I haven't reached the level where you can just look at a cuneiform inscription and then because number one, you got to know what period it is, because there are literally thousands of cuneiform tablets and inscriptions. Grabbing one, it would be just like you taking something in Latin or something in English, but it's in German. You see the Latin letters, and it's the same thing, but it's in German. You don't know what it's saying. So just like one of my teachers was explaining, that when we do transliteration, it's good to have your glossary, which is a long manual of cuneiform characters, because some have evolved over time. These are innovations, because what you might see in the Ur 2 period will be different than what you see in the Ur 3 period. So you have to make sure, if you come across something, you can pretty much recognize, just like you can look at this, my background, you can pretty much look at certain things and you say, okay, I recognize that, but then you come across another one, then you got to go through your manual and then make sure, okay, this is that. Because if you don't, one sign can drastically change the whole text. One sign. And, a lot of Assyriologists, it takes them a long time before they translate these things.
Yeah, some people jump on the internet and do it right away. Hey, so check this out. Let me ask you this. Is there some cuneiform? I thought I remember reading somewhere where it says some of it, they still don't know what it's saying. or have they figured out what all of this what's written? I mean,
I
like
have-
how to. In other words, they figured out how to cipher it. There isn't some that's like they can't really tell what they're trying to.
If that's what you're saying, I would suspect you're making reference to the early dynastic periods
Mm-hmm.
where it's fragmented, it's complicated because it's in an early stage, and they haven't been able to fully decipher a lot of the early older forms of it.
Yeah.
Because today in 2024, a lot of those things are obsolete because so many inscriptions have been uncovered. They confirm and they can explain different things better than we had, say, back during the time of Samuel Cramer. Because with some of these Assyriologists today, young people in universities, a lot of the stuff that they're saying is almost kind of obsolete. I mean, they still hold them in the highest of regards,
Right.
but some of the stuff, we've made many advances in the study of the cuneiform scripts or writings.
Okay.
And, the Or3 period, that's where you had the bulk of all the writing that came out. And
You
that's
say
why.
03. What does that mean when you say 02 and 03?
Oh no, Ur3. Doing it in the city-state of Ur.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Ur3, and the 3 is during that what they call the Third Dynasty period, which would be in some people call the Renaissance period,
Got you.
where this was.
Is that where Abraham came from?
Some people say.
Or Chaldea.
Some people say that.
I'm just messing.
But
I'm just messing. Go ahead.
that was because coming from that period where you had the Guti and then you had the Akkadians that pushed Sumerian out. They what was his name? Urnamu, Gudea, Blagash, Shogi. These kings they went on a serious campaign to renovate and reestablish Sumerian language and literature as being prominent as it once was, at least in the second dynastic period, prior to the Akkadian takeover. So all the stuff that we find, like Anuna, Sangiga, where people saying the blackheads, all that stuff comes in the latter part.
Okay.
Because if you look at some of the earlier writings, the Sumerians refer to themselves just as the Akkadians used the word Zamakagadi, which was their poetic way in writing to talk about a special people that were like the flocks of the gods, Sangiga, because the Sumerians referred to themselves as Nam Ulu, the people.
Okay.
And so the Akkadians, they have a word, Zamakagadi, which is also the people, but they translated it as blackheads. And that's what, since the 1990s, the latter part of the 1990s, certain people took blackheads and then flipped the script and said they talking about the Sumerians were black people.
There you go. I knew it.
And now, I mean, the people that I know, they're saying it's so ridiculous. What's the point of entertaining it? But I'm saying, and I told the dude, I said, look, this is how Sitchin was able to flourish with his misinformation over the years. Y'all should have jumped on his ass back then. Michael Heiser came out and he challenged Sitchin to a debate about proving what you say to be accurate based on the inscriptions of the ancient peoples that you're saying this is from. He didn't do it. He was smart. He didn't pull a Billy Carson.
Yeah, he was sharp. He knew not to do that.
They bumped
He
that
said,
up.
no. So he went to his
Hold
grave.
Catch me out
He went
there.
to his grave saying, I ain't doing it.
Chuck,
And maybe
Chuck.
both of them are up there or down there arguing their point.
Hey Chuck. Hey Chuck.
Huh?
We coming to an end. I'm not trying to put you in the middle of nothing.
Yeah.
Hold on. But I gotta say it.
Yeah, no, they weren't white either.
Hold on. No. I gotta say it, Chuck. Chuck don't got nothing to do with what I'm about to say.
Oh.
Nothing to do. Put him,
Get
get him out.
before this go down.
There was a time not so long ago where there was supposed to be a debate talking about Sumerian and Bantu.
Yeah.
Some kind of way, I'm not gonna mention his name, the greatest all time. In some kind of way, that debate didn't happen. I'm gonna stop it right there.
Well,
They had black heads, man. So
I know what had happened. It was
What happened? What had happened, Chuck?
well, it's real simple. There was, and I don't want to mention anybody's name, but there
You
was
ain't like me.
something that happened in a chat that was live, and it was very disrespectful. And then even the person who was going to do the debate was literally laughed at, and he interpreted it as being very unprofessional. And then some other people who watched that, you know, and I got the text messages about that, and they were saying that you shouldn't even deal with that because some people are using that and they're attacking certain Egyptologists, and they're using it. It's not even worth your time to even do that. And you know, that was what I witnessed. You know, it is what it is. I mean, that was what happened. It wasn't because anybody had any superseding information, you know, because I mean that stuff can be poo-pooed in no time. You know,
86.
Chuck, that's why I want you to know, Chuck. I want you to know, Chuck. That's why it's so important for people like you and the pseudo killers community, skeptic, because we can actually, you know, we can provide that expert material and not ruin our careers based off of the foolery that goes on in the internet.
I mean, you got to understand that some of these people, especially this person who was going to do the debate, that was one of my teachers, and you know, they don't just deal with that. I mean, this dude, you know, he's right now at the university in China doing translations of Chinese literature over there, and he was just at a point where his career is getting ready to, you know, really shoot off, and then to see his name being maligned, you know, online, you know.
Yeah, see,
like,
somebody would have got beat up that day. Guarantee you.
Yeah.
Somebody would have got
I'm
beat
telling you,
up
that would have
day.
been because the arrogance of both parties would have been something. I would just sat back and with my popcorn and just enjoyed it. I mean, I'm an arrogant motherfucker myself, you know. I don't take prisoners, but you know, that would have been fun to watch. It would have been fun to watch because they were sniping each other in the private chat we had. And I thought that was funny too. But
all right, I'm gonna get out of here. Hey, Chuck, thanks for coming through, man. Stop back, bro.
Hey, anytime,
Yeah,
bud.
Chuck got it anytime.
And if you ever get the definition of black, make sure you share it with me. I'm looking forward to. Won't nobody never answer me. Come on, bro.
Hey, look, I got a PowerPoint, but it's so long. I got like 150 slides. It's I ain't gonna say rebuttal, but it's a response to someone that critiqued my initial presentation on Garfield's show about the Sumerians were they black.
Well, let me know when you want to do that. I'm gonna shut up and let you fire them 100.
Time consuming, right. But it's called Did the Sumerians have black heads?
Yeah, hey Chuck, let me know when you want to fire that sideball.
All right, that's a bet.
I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna say, Chuck, please. Go ahead and beat up Assad. My fault.
Come on, man. I'm gonna get somebody in trouble. I'm going.
He gonna get me in trouble. Shit, I stand on mine.
All the way. Look, man, Ron. I don't know, Ron. You late. You gotta go, don't you, Chuck? I had one person.
I gotta pick this girl up, man.
All right, Ron. Look, we gotta get out of here. Can't even get to that, man. My man gotta go, man. He's over in the lovely island of Hawaii doing his thing with the sun glistening with his beautiful wife and kids. Right, he enjoying life, glistening in the sun. Look, man, we about to do a 3 the hallway show. It's already set up, man. Y'all get right over there, right, Chuck? We appreciate you coming through.
I'm listening. I'll be on the road listening.
Okay. Appreciate you coming through for our first.
I appreciate you for allowing me to come in and share this little bit of information. I always appreciate this. And thank you for those who are listening as well.
Oh, man, look, man, you actually, you know what I'm saying? I'm good to have you this first interviews at the level with you, bro. Inaugural event, right? Those who have studied hard to qualify themselves, right? To bring us expert material. All right. Never to confuse them with the experts, but the material they present is right there where it's supposed to be, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. Like and subscribe, man. Make sure y'all get over to 3 the Hard Way. It's happening in 10 minutes, man. Y'all can come with some more question board, man. We're enjoying this educational level. Chuck, man, look, bro, I'm going to tell you like this, man. Boy, where was you when we really needed you back in the day? I guess you was caught up with me.
Yeah, I was like, we was out there messing with them fools.
No, you was out there with CDs taking over. Boy, don't miss shit.
When I was in Baltimore, I had my store on North Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
All eyes on Egypt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You had the store. I forgot. Oh man, you can't never joke me. You had the store.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Hey, look, I would walk that. My girl would run the store, and I would walk with my table down to Mont Diamond Mall. No. I went down to what's that? What's that place where all the crackheads was hanging? The meth addicts. What was it?
Yep, down there off Lexington Market. Yeah, you down there Lexington Market, bro, with the market. Yeah,
every day. I was still there. Had the brother from the Nation of Islam, the tall brother, used to have the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And then Saturdays, the Israeli church would pop up. Yeah, we debated them, man. Took the bullhorn, and I set up some of the sharpest brothers who spoke Arabic, and we battled that day. Yeah, those were some fun times, man.
I know it was, man. Look, man, appreciate you coming through, man. Man, this show is brought to you by Oasis.
Hi, I'm J.O. Waters, and I'm the creator of the Oasis for Teachers YouTube channel. I create content for teachers who are feeling burnt out and need a refreshing and rejuvenating. On my channel, you'll find self-care tips, inspiration, and professional development. So if you're feeling burnt out as a teacher, please come and join us.
In this game of shadows, I won't hide.
Bonnie banger from the block, seen it all raw tough. Streets of Baltimore where survival's always rough. Joined the Marines fighting for a life he could save. But back in the hood, he felt like a runaway slave. Started an army, not of guns but of wisdom. I'm a rock squad, truth the anthem, we ain't just a God killer. Bobby Banger on his path for the truth. Empower the people, give them wisdom as the proof. Black power rising, knowledge shines like a light. He's fighting for the future, ready to ignite. Selling drugs on the corner just to put food on plates, but deep in his heart, he knew he had greater fates. From the traps to the lab, he fights ignorance raw, teaching evolution while shaking up the law. The real black atheist is changing the game, waking up minds, never the same. God killer Bobby Banger on his path for the truth, empower the people.
Man, look, man, this was a powerful show, man. Interviews at the level, man. Bringing you non-experts that's dedicated to bringing you expert material, expert source material, and giving it to you in plain English, man. Look, man, we about to go ahead over. Y'all know what it is, the 3 the Hard Way, that banging show. Y'all can get up here with your Sumerian questions, anything you want, any questions. We talking about anything. You want to talk about Black Egypt. You want to talk about Sarah, anything you want to talk about, right? It's going down. Man, I appreciate everybody coming through in the chat, man. Look, man, do me a favor, man. Show some love and hit the Cash App, man. Stop playing. Man, if you can't do that, join the daggone channel, man. Goodness gracious, $2.99 a month, man. We're going to start putting some material on there that only y'all can get to first, man. Man, that's a small donation on a monthly basis, man, that help keep the channel curated, man, and on the damn level, man. With that, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. And with that, I'm your host, God Killer, and I'm out.